Elizabeth was your typical 72-year-old cleaning lady. She was a widow, and she had 3 children, George, Dana, and Eloise. Throughout this video, you will see how she transitions from going from an average person to someone dealing with the struggles of Parkinson's disease. Elizabeth had just come back from a day cleaning, and here you can see her struggling with her posture especially and carrying her box of cleaning supplies to her bedroom. This is a common symptom of those struggling with Parkinson's. Another common symptom is struggle with swallowing. Here you can see the effect of that. After eating a hearty meal of meat and potatoes, Elizabeth had to go to the bathroom. But a common symptom of those struggling with Parkinson's is constipation.
"20 minutes later."
Another common symptom is an uncontrollable bladder, as you can see here in this clip. When you have Parkinson's, you will also have a difficulty writing, especially in your neatness because of your tremors and in your speed.
"20 minutes later."
After many years of having these symptoms, Elizabeth started to really recognize them and become worried about them. So she decided to research these symptoms.
I've actually been having some tremors and I think I maybe should go to the doctors, but I don't know. I'm using this computer Google thing and it says maybe I have Parkinson's, but Parkinson's disease? I'm very shaky lately and I got tremors and yeah, I'm just not doing too good, I don't think. Yeah, I'm gonna book an appointment very soon, very soon. Okay, goodbye, Eloise. All right. Hello, this is Dr. Milani speaking. Hello, Elizabeth. How are you doing? Shaking. Okay. All right. Yeah, I have a couple open slots. Do you want me to book you in for an appointment? All right. Let me just check my schedule here. How about Thursday? I have Thursday at 4 or 4:30? 4 o'clock? Okay, sounds good, Elizabeth. I'll see you then. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, I'm Dr. Milani. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. All right. So you told me a bit about your symptoms. You say, let me just pull up my sheet here. You've been experiencing a lot of tremors and a lack of sleep and stuff, and your posture isn't too great. You have constipation and a lack of bladder control. Am I right? Yes. Yes. All right, and a lot of muscle tension and stuff. Yeah. Okay. So this is maybe some difficult news for you to hear, but don't be afraid. We see these cases all the time, and there's different methods that we can use to try and help to slow down the symptoms that you'll be faced with. But we do think that you may have Parkinson's disease. All right. So what this means is you have a part of your brain which is called the substantia nigra. So what that is it releases 2 neurotransmitters, which are like cell signalers. They tell your cells what to do basically. So the 2 ones that we're specifically looking at today are dopamine and acetylcholine, which these 2 neurotransmitters, they control the movement and your reaction to things and just your muscle movement, which is, as you can expect, a lot of the reason why you've been experiencing a lot of tremors and stuff like that. So basically what happens is dopamine, it inhibits your movement, so it kind of stops your movement from happening, and then acetylcholine will exhibit your movement, so it will cause you to react to things on time and everything. So what's happening with you is that by this point, because you've seen all these symptoms and everything, you've lost about 75% of your dopamine, so you have a lack of control over your movement. So now from here going forward, you're going to experience an even more greater deficiency of this dopamine, so it's going to keep lessening and lessening from 75% down to 80% and so on and so forth. So this does mean that your symptoms are going to increasingly get worse. of course, this is just a preliminary thing that we're diagnosing you with, but we can do more testing. We can do an MRI just to check for Lewy bodies. So basically what that is just clumps of cells in your brain, which are made up of specific cells, and specifically when we're worried about Parkinson's, we'll be looking for things like alpha-synuclein, which is like specific cells that your body just can't break down, and it'll block the release of these neurotransmitters. So yeah, we can do that, and it is some hard news to take in. Is there any questions you may have at this point?
I don't think so.
No? Is this hard? Do you have a good family support that you'll be able to rely on in the coming years? Yes? All right, that is good to hear. So I guess now I'll explain more of like what you'll be facing in the future. You are going to have an experience in greater thinking difficulties, so this includes dementia, possibly. I don't want to scare you with that, but that is something that a lot of people do face. Forgetfulness and hallucinations and delusions, so like during your sleep you'll have a lot of nightmares and night terrors and things like that. Which these things are, sadly, you can't really control them with medications. All you can do is just kind of live through them, and there are other medications that you can take to control the other aspects of Parkinson's, but not necessarily that one. Another thing that you might experience is depression, anxiety, or lack of motivation, but these things, gladly, they can be controlled with medications, so like Vyvanse or any other medications. You'll have a difficulty swallowing, leading to like saliva and drooling possibly. Abnormal sleep schedule, acting out your dreams is a thing that a lot of patients do see. So you live alone right now, right? Alright, so I'm just going to recommend to you that maybe you move in with someone. Maybe, I know you mentioned you have 3 kids, maybe look into moving in with one of them, or a nursing home as your symptoms progress, because it will be very beneficial to live with someone who is able to care for you. Another thing you might experience is bladder control and constipation. I know you already said you're kind of experiencing that, but it is likely going to get worse. You're going to experience changes in blood pressure leading to dizziness, smell dysfunction, and maybe even sexual dysfunction. So going forward, we are going to set you up with a neurological and a physical examination just to make sure that the symptoms that you're facing are caused because of this lack of dopamine and not some other aspect of your health. So we're going to get that, and we're also going to set you up with a blood test, and we do recommend that you get checked out and get a second opinion, because as good of a doctor as I am, I may be misdiagnosing you, and I don't want to do that with this. So just make sure that you get a second opinion so that we can be sure that this is what you're struggling with. Alright? Do you have any questions?
Can't you just inject dopamine into me?
Alright, yeah, this is a common question that a lot of people do have, but we can't actually just inject the dopamine into you because your brain doesn't accept it. So what we have to do is, we have this drug called carbidopa-levodopa. So I actually have a sample of it here. I can give you some to take home, because we give this to a lot of the patients that we think might have Parkinson's, and it doesn't actually harm you if you take it, but if we see changes and improvements in your symptoms after taking these, it confirms that you do have Parkinson's. So basically what this is it's a natural drug, or a natural chemical, that you put into your brain, and then it's just carbidopa. Carbidopa before it goes into your brain, but after it goes into your brain, it gets converted into dopamine, so then you see the effects of it that way. So yeah, it's a pretty good drug. I think you can take this home with you today. Then there's 2 other things you can do. You can do an MAOB inhibitor. So this will stop the breakdown of dopamine, but it will cause insomnia, and it doesn't actually improve the symptoms. It just kind of keeps you at the level that you're at. So I think you're already being bothered by these symptoms. So if you were to come in maybe a couple years ago, and with these symptoms, we would have maybe set you up with this, but I think by now it's time to start taking the carbidopa-levodopa. Alright? The last thing, if really none of these things are working, we will set you up with the actual big surgery, which is a deep brain stimulation surgery. So what happens is we would implant electrodes into your brain, which are going to be connected to generators in your chest, and then they're going to kind of send those electrical impulses that would be mimicked by dopamine. So, but we don't really like to do that again because it's just a surgery and there's a high risk, and being a 72-year-old woman, we don't want to set you up with anything that's going to put you at harm, alright? So yeah, is there any other questions you have or anything?
I don't think so.
Alright, so we're going to set you up with a personal nurse. Her name is Kathy. You can meet her. She's out in the lobby. And other than that, I think we're good. Oh, one other thing you might be happy to hear. I know you say you're a coffee drinker. So coffee, actually, it has been proven to decrease the symptoms of Parkinson's. So keep drinking the coffee, am I right?
Perfect. Nice, man.
Alright, bud. Good day to you, man.
Good day.